Yesterday, I noticed how my speech, my mannerisms, and my approach to life in general seemed unstable. I did everything with a sense of urgency. My movement was jerky and erratic. My posture slouched and my stride uneven. I have always cared about how others perceive me, which is why I have always carried myself through thoughtful and controlled mannerisms. The most insidious aspect of gang stalking is that you never truly know what the goal is until many, many years later. Just now, 8 years into the game, I finally understood how gang stalking produces its victims to behave like they have lost their minds. Just yesterday, I began to pay attention to my movement, my mannerisms, and my speech. I hadn't realized that so much time had passed by since the last time I did that. I noticed how, even though I wasn't in a stressful situation, I carried myself like I was. Many, many memories played before my eyes. I remember how disturbingly exhausted I was after every single shift at O'Reilly Auto Parts. I remembered how everyone around me at that job would pressure me to move faster and to not stop moving. I looked around and I was the only one working frantically. I felt forced to not stop moving. Whenever I would even slow down, my coworkers would start coughing, making a lot of noise, tapping the floor with their feet. And so did the customers. A lot of them. When I tried to compose myself and speak and move in a controlled manner, I would see their face filled with almost anger. Almost like if they were thinking, how is this freaking possible? Those times where I would try to compose myself, the customers began tapping the counter, like rushing me. Some of them began tapping their feet. And some of them would even look at me and be, oh, brother. They would literally express that and tell me that. Some of them would whisper it. But the intention, their intention, to apply pressure on me to move faster was undeniable. Customers and my coworkers wouldn't stop coughing loudly and making loud noises until I began to move frantically. Then I also remembered how every day I would brush my teeth with so much anxiety to the point where I hit my gums hard with the head of the toothbrush, sometimes more than once. And many of those times I made my gums bleed. I asked myself, why am I doing everything with such a sense of urgency? I have been doing everything with an insane sense of urgency. I spoke too fast to enunciate properly. When I became aware of my erratic movements and of my stressful way of doing everything, I realized why I was tired all the time. The stressful environment and the crazy situations, plus the pressure that gang stalking put upon me every day, all day. And when they weren't there, I couldn't even be online because I would be bombarded by these same people, to the point where I couldn't relax. All of these little things put together took away the attention that one typically puts in carrying oneself properly, composed, with pride, and with dignity. Most of my life, I have carried myself thoughtfully. Whenever I caught myself even slouching a little bit, I would immediately correct it. Since I was 16 years old, I have had my core engaged most of the day. Regardless of what I was doing, whenever I would relax my core, my mind would nudge me. I have always put effort into doing things that would make people have a positive perception of me. I was so busy thinking or dealing with gang stalking to the point where I began to ignore the nudges that my mind would give me to pay attention to the way I was presenting myself to the world. Gang stalking simply became my dominating thought, and its impact on my life was so severe that maintaining composure was the least of my preoccupations. I didn't know that that was the whole point of gang stalking. To do things that will take my attention away from the way I present myself to the world. There were times where I actively put in effort to maintain composure, to speak calmly, slow down, and whenever I did this, I remember very clearly that the faces of gang stalkers would show some type of anger, disappointment, or disbelief. Throughout all of these years, gang stalkers have produced me to behave erratically. The magnitude and the gravity of the situation blinded me completely from how I was presenting myself to the world. The stressful environment that GangStalking creates makes targets behave in a frenzy. They're all sped up, anxious, upset, mad at everyone. You lose your self-awareness completely. You forget about your posture, your speech, your movement. Your mind is preoccupied with safety and with trying to understand what is happening around you. It was just until now, 8 years later, that I noticed this. It was just until recently where I began to put more thought behind everything I said, every step I made, anything I did, regardless of being in front of anyone or by myself. The moment that I began to control everything about my behavior, I felt like I had regained all my power back. I stopped feeling like a targeted individual. I have spent the last 8 years of my life reacting to the things that these people do to me and around me. It is just now that I am able to pull myself away from the grasp of these people, that I have enough mental bandwidth to pay attention to my mannerisms, to my speech, to my posture. It took 9 months of being away from GangStalking before I could remember how I used to speak before, how I used to walk, how I used to carry myself. I was so busy reacting to these people for so long that I was living my life on pure instinct. I had practically become an animal. If you are a targeted individual, please understand that GangStalking is meant to make you behave like you have lost your mind. Even though I kind of knew that already, I didn't know what someone who had lost their mind looks like. I finally understood what that looks like because I began replaying in my head the worst times GangStalk. I was rushed, my behavior was erratic, sometimes I hadn't slept, I was reactive, emotionally driven, anxious, rushed. I was reacting to everything that these people did. Yesterday, during my live stream, I made it my main priority to behave in a composed manner with dignity, pride. I made myself to think before I spoke in order for me to give a performance that my viewers would enjoy, while at the same time projecting who I am. I was so focused on maintaining my composure, on my delivery of what I said, form, my performance overall. I focused on the things that I was able to control. That led me to not even think about the gang stalkers that were watching. I focused obsessively on my own performance. Every step, every word, every repetition. Doing that gave me all power back. The moment that you lose notion of your own behavior to address gang stalking activity, that is the moment that you start losing to gang stalking. If you are targeted, you know what I'm talking about. These people are going to try to make you walk faster, to do things around you that are meant to produce anxiety, things that are made to confuse you. If you are at a job, even your coworkers will do things to rush you, to purposely get you as tired as they can so that you lose cognitive function. But the moment that your focus is on your behavior, and not just kind of focus, but obsessively focused on your own behavior, laser focus, that is how you maintain power. Because regardless of what job you have, regardless of what situation you find yourself in, anything that is trying to make you lose your composure is an act of aggression. If anything at work is actively trying to make you lose your composure, immediately speak to higher ups, write it down, get a lawyer. Anyone that tries to somehow pull you into any vice that you know will lead you into a worse gang stalking experience, you need to immediately stop talking to. Any person that you feel is part of your gang stalking probably is. And the fact that there is such an absurd amount of participants will keep you doubting whether or not someone is harassing you or not. Because the people that are harassing you are telling you that you're seeing things and are calling you crazy. The sheer amount of people make you doubt what you are experiencing. But let me tell you, what you are experiencing is true. Everyone that is creating a stressful environment around you is a gang stalker. And yes, it is that big. The moment that you stop questioning your eyes and stop communicating with those who have made your gang stalking situation worse, you're going to notice that your life will become more calm. Forbid yourself from engaging with any person that has actively attributed to your gang stalking operation in any way, shape, or form. Anyone that is pushing you into behaving in a way that will hinder you is a gang stalker. They're going to mention things casually to plant an idea in your mind. A lot of times they will ask you questions about that behavior with the intention of making you think about engaging in that behavior. Anything or anyone that produces a thought that you know will work against you, you have to forbid yourself from engaging with. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Efren Rodriguez Guerrero, and I have been a targeted individual for 8 years. The goal of the gang stalking playbook is to make the subject about gang stalking common knowledge. Gang stalking is only successful because there is hardly any practical information anywhere. If this video has helped you, entertained you, or added value to your life, I would highly appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel, tap the like button, or write a comment. Sharing the video to your social media would also be greatly appreciated. If you would like to show your support in other ways, you can become a member of the channel for $4.99 a month or make a donation to my PayPal in the link in the description of the channel. Big shout out to God's Cats for being a member. I hope you're doing good. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a blessed day. Bye, I love you.